life. On an iron ring, it's physical to attacks. 2 stone, it would be fire and lightning resistance. On a goat horn, it's spell damage, and a short bow doesn't have one. So we could try, for example, using a Val Orb. It gave a white socket, which is a 1 in 4 chance. And here, with volleying it, it would have, like, if this was an alked item with rare stats, the stats wouldn't have changed. This only changed the implicit. So this is a 14% chance to gain Unholy Might. And when you hold Alt, then it actually shows you what Unholy Might does. The best way to figure out what different implicits you can get on what different item is the Wikipedia page. So you can just search let's see. So there are different like affixes by item type. Like you can't normally roll life on a weapon. Like if you're rolling an axe, you can't roll like 100 life on that. So armor and shields have mostly defensive modifiers. Shields and quivers can roll some offensive modifiers. Boots can roll modifiers that affect movement speed, which is pretty mandatory for actually playing the game and the game feeling good. You'll you'll notice if you're using, we'll use Comb's Roots as an example. It's a unique boot that just has a bunch of life but no movement speed, unless your character is free up a slot so that you can use the crafting bench. Is an example of the Orb of Annulment being good. Exalted Orbs, they're the opposite of an Annulment Orb. They add a stat back on. So I could just, maybe I have an item with 4 good stats and I'm not able to like use the crafting bench to add 2. So I would then use an Exalted Orb. I didn't get what I wanted. They are definitely a more advanced and expensive thing, and there are other good uses for Exalted Orbs, which we'll cover soon. Let's see. A red, a green, and a blue gem, which I can buy for 1 wisdom scroll each. That's very, very easy for me to get a lot of. And then you see like this jade amulet gets turned into an onyx amulet when I vendor it with these 3 gems. Now, what this recipe does is it basically turns any amulet into a white onyx amulet. And there's a lot of ways to use this. So now I can alch this. I didn't get what I wanted. I will now vendor it with these 3 and I get a free scouring. Now, this might seem a little bit tedious, but it can be really, really good if you have a shit ton of alchemies, a shit ton of essences. And because if you do find, like, let's say that this iron ring had like 60 life and a resist, right? But you're missing out quite a lot compared to other rings. And that's when you could vol it and hope that the implicit changes to elemental resistance, for example. Because it might not be worth using over another ring without a good implicit, but, you know, throwing a crafting bench mod on it and then volleying it can actually be quite nice. That are some, like, low risk scenarios that you could use. That was, like, quite smooth that I actually hit it in the presentation. That's nice. Thanks, Chris. Again, Chaos Orb spamming, not really what I want to do. Let's see. Crit. And then everything else is random. We can't see shit? What do you mean? Yes, you can. What? I'm seeing on the screen. I mean, if you can't see the lamellar, that's not super important. You can see the text. Right, so we're clicking the status card first, then this. Boom. Now you see we actually got an insanely lucky result here. I'm sure there's loads of things where this could be useful. Beautiful, beautiful chest. And you have an open prefix and an open suffix. But here is an example. So you can see now the background. You have both Shaper and Redeemer on this. It has like nice blue hue and Shaper background. I just wanted to like show you guys a little bit more of advanced crafting, so you have something to look forward to when you do get a little bit into Path of Exile. And I know there's a lot of like veteran players and stuff that aren't like really brave enough to get into crafting and stuff like that. And above, they work more like Chaos Orbs. So Screaming, they will have to be white, but on Shrieking and Deafening, they'll be like a Chaos Orb. So I can use this now on our... Sadly, it was really good, but we are going to override it for an example here. But now you can see that it guaranteed the life, and the others were random. So we got the guaranteed 126 life, and everything else was random. Didn't get any shaper mods. And there are loads of really good essences, and they all do like different things depending on what they are used on. We'll talk a little bit about the special things. Oh, and they can also be used to force things that can't normally be on there. So an example of this is Shrieking Essence of Sorrow. You can see that it has 43 to 50 dexterity. Like a leather belt can't normally roll dex 19. Ends up being a waste. But I find that with essences, it's way more cost efficient to do it on an item level 2, because here we hit not full jackpot, but this is now a really good wand. If especially this didn't have the 2 to 3 fire damage to spells, this would be a giga jackpot. So this is good in a lot of ways, and we're gonna bring an annulment in case we can hit it here. But this is now +1 cold spell skill gems and 73 spell damage. This is, for a lot of people, entirely usable. A lot of people would now be, for example, crafting trigger is very popular for a lot of builds. It basically will cast the gems that are in your wand when you do an action. Very popular for vortex builds, or you could even craft resists. However, if we annul the 2 to 3 fire damage to spells, what we can do now is to do cold damage over time multiplier, and we have a really solid endgame wand. That seemed scripted. That was nice. That was beautiful. So that is a really good example that is actually fairly durable for new players, and it makes your essences way more cost efficient, because if you're using Screaming, Shrieking, or you shouldn't be using Deafening, obviously, but if you're using these essences on like a high item level, the chance that you're getting other good mods, especially +1 gems, it's a very good soul self-on. This is something you can do Awakener 8 with very easily. So the annulment orb again just removes one at random. So there we broke the item. We removed the +1 cold. It removes one of the stats like we explained earlier. Some of the other recipes we want to show before we end. Very useful throughout the leveling process. There's a couple of different recipes here. Let's see.
Hello.
So, first, important to remember that you can change an iron ring into one of the others. So we'll start with a wand recipe. Very used quite a lot here. We'll do 3. So let's try. We're going to do 3 different sapphire rings.
Well, we
can also use betrayal. Let's see. Maybe I should show it here on a little bit on the left so you guys can see better. Let's see. We're just throwing perfect fossils on it. There. Now we got 30 quality, right? We don't care about anything else. The item can be white for all I care. And now we are going to craft additional quality on it. Here, you can get up to 18 crafted quality. I just haven't unveiled it. But let's say that we do get 18, right? Then it would be 48 quality. Now, this does increase the odds quite a lot. There might be somebody thinking like, oh, this is just like, what is it people say? Conspiracy theory, or like, oh, it's just like in your head or something. It does actually say on the item, and there's been large scale tests as well as GGG saying yes. So hope you guys are enjoying the Path of Exile University sessions. Whether you're watching on Twitch or watching on YouTube, thanks so much for all the support. If you like the YouTube video, sub to the channel and stuff. And more importantly, try to die less than I do. Pog? We good? There is going to be 101 classes every year. We're going to be doing 4 of these per year. I'm going to be doing the 101 sessions every league start and just changing them. Rocky and Vaush have been doing the slides and a lot of teacher notes and stuff for me, because my drop and roll luck in game. Yes, 5 gift subs will do. Right, I'm gonna go to the bathroom and then we're gonna get ready for the next session, which is How to know when your items are gooder with Zizaran. I'll be right back.
Godlike!
Oh, shit, I thought she was coming in. Okay, well, I'll fix it in a sec. Yeah, good session. Better than yesterday. I feel like maybe Araki and Vaush aren't tilted today. Vaush and Araki does like so much.